Hope you're doing well on your build along, and we're going to talk today about heat treating your blade. And there's two kind of terms and processes you need to understand about heat treating. The first one is just that, heat treating. We're going to take a piece of steel that is annealed or in its softest state. You can drill it, you can grind it, you can cut it very easily because it's soft. We're going to heat it up to its heat treating temperature, its critical temperature, and then we're going to quench it in warm oil. When we do that, it's going to be hard. It's going to be as hard as a file. In fact, if you drop it on concrete or something, you're going to snap it. It's that hard. So to bring it back to a usable hardness, we're going to do the second process, which is called tempering. And in tempering, we're going to heat the knife up in an oven to a specific temperature for the desired hardness that we're trying to get. And then the knife is going to be heat treated and tempered. It's going to be at a temperature where it will, or a hardness where it will still hold a good edge, but also it won't snap. So anyway, the steel that you have that went out with the kits is called 52-100. It's a neat steel, and very grateful to Mr. Aldo Bruno at New Jersey Steel Baron for his generosity in providing those, sponsoring the blade steel. 52-100 can be a little bit finicky to heat treat, but it's a great steel and you're going to have fun doing it. Don't be intimidated by the process. It's not that hard. We're going to be using, for the sake of kind of a low-tech solution for people out there who don't have a heat treating oven, we're going to be using a small charcoal forge. And if you look back through my old videos, you will find a video about how to make this forge out of stuff you can just get. I bought all the stuff at the dollar store, along with some kitty litter, bentonite clay that I made the refractory compound out of. And I think you'll have fun doing that, plus a hairdryer from a thrift store, and you're heat treating like a fiend. So anyway, I sent out all the 52-100 that we had with the boxes, and so for my knife I'm using 01 tool steel, which is a simple carbon steel. And but I'm going to show you the process and give you some tips at the end for 52-100. So check it out and enjoy. This is what that little forge looks like. You can see that I've got a couple pieces of charcoal, and I've got a piece of black iron pipe that has a cap on the end. We're going to use this for a heat treating tube, a chamber where there will be lower oxygen and we'll get less scale on the blade. This is what it looks like. And remember, do not use galvanized pipe. Nothing galvanized goes in the forge. So anyway, we're going to heat this pipe up. It's going to help to keep the blade from burning. We're going to drop some charcoal inside of there that will burn up and use up the oxygen that's in the pipe, and it's going to really work slick. So we just put some charcoal in around it, underneath it, and we're going to fire it up. Okay, so here I'm just putting a little bit of charcoal dust and a little piece of wood inside of this tube, and as that burns, that will use up the oxygen that's in the tube, and just sticking a twig in there too, and I'll put a little bit more in when I get the blade in there as well. Now all that's left to do is fire it up here, and I put a little charcoal lighter fluid on it, and I have a forge blower from one of my forges going, and that's just going to help to get the oxygen in there that we need and get this fire cranking. It doesn't take too long, especially when you turn the air on, and I didn't encourage you to use a good brand of charcoal. I did not. Chunk charcoal works real good. So you can see here with the air on, it's really starting to get hot. I'm going to stick a piece of steel into the forge, and I'm going to use this to heat up my oil. You can see as it gets hot, the tube is getting really hot too. And I'm going to insert the knife blade in there and check it frequently against a magnet to see that if it's magnetic yet. It still tracks a little bit to the magnet, and I'm going to keep checking this pretty regularly. I want to pause for just a second and talk to you about a mistake that a lot of people make who are first-time knife makers, and I've even seen some people who've been making knives for a short time doing this as well. When you're heat treating the knife and the heat is going up in the knife, you want to check it frequently against the magnet. So when it still looks black even, it doesn't look like it's glowing cherry red or anything, pull it out and touch it to the magnet. You want to slowly go up to that temperature and not go much hotter. I've seen people just stick a blade in, pull it out, and it's almost burning. the steel is so hot, and then touch it to a magnet and it doesn't attract, and they think, hey, it's ready, and they stick it in. If you do that, you're going to get real coarse grains in your steel, and it's going to, not heat treat right and be brittle. So avoid that. Just check frequently. It's better to overcheck than undercheck, and you actually want to feel when it's just starting to lose attraction to the magnet and stick it back in, pull it out, and when you touch it to the magnet and it no longer attracts, stick it back into the pipe and heat it up a little bit hotter. Leave it in there for 5 seconds more, let's say, a little more, and then you're going to pull it out and quench it in the warm oil, because 52100 has to go above magnetic a little bit to do it right. So remember that as you're working. Part of the hazards of filming yourself when you're knife making is sometimes you don't have the camera set right, and I took a picture instead of a movie of the heat treating process. So I'm just going to show you real quick what that looks like. I just heated this bar until it was very red, stirred it in this canola oil, warming it up, and then pulled the knife out at the right temperature and quenched it in this oil. And it worked very good. As you can see, I'm going to test it with a file, and the file just skates across the surface and feels great. It'll take a little bit of the scale off, but the steel is as hard as the file or harder, and it won't cut it. And now for the tempering process. You can see in my final product here that I tempered it pretty blue. I could have done it like a wheat color, but it's like a light blue, and it'll be pretty good. So it's into the oven, and I'm going to cook it at 450 degrees here for an hour, and then I'm going to repeat that. So here's our little formula. You can pause the video and read through it, and maybe jot down some notes for yourself as you do your heat treat. Remember, just do this carefully, have fun with it, and your knife will turn out just fine for what you're going to use it for. So I hope you found that helpful. Don't be intimidated by the process. It's really pretty easy. You can make your own little forge like I used in this video. Look back for that video from the first build along. There's also another forge that uses a propane torch. Propane torches are not that expensive. You can buy them in hardware stores, and they're nice tools. You can get a gas that's called MAP gas that burns hotter than propane, and you'll find that a lot easier to use to heat treat with. So good luck to everyone. Please post videos to YouTube of your work, or join us on our Facebook page. I'll put a link below for that, and it's a good place to ask questions. There's some knowledgeable knife makers there who can answer those for you. So good luck to everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.